I'm no fan of Joss Whedon, but, well, yeah, we'll get into this. First of all, the thing about Joss Whedon is your boy Zach, formerly Diversity in Comics, now Comics Matter, with your boy Zach. You know who it is. He when he hits it on the nail on the head, he really hits it, because I think he came up with a great point about Joss Whedon. See, Joss Whedon, a lot of his style and stuff that was popularized with his big success with Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the series, not the film. The film is fine and all, but the series became the big, franchise, and has had an amazing amount of influence over everything since, to their detriment in a lot of ways. It was fresh and new and cool when it was Buffy, but then, it gets tiring all these years later. But it turns out he made the point that it's not really Joss Whedon's ideas. That style and approach was actually in comic books, and if you know comics, and despite a lot of fandom for sci-fi and superhero genre, don't necessarily know the comics at all. But if you did, you would know that Peter David actually came up with a lot of that style and stuff and whatnot. And when he mentioned that, and I should have known myself, and I was like, oh yeah, that's true. So, but I guess if I'm going to be fair, even though I don't particularly like Joss Whedon, I think he's a bit of an a-hole. I guess it would be fair to say, well, he was influenced. Yeah, that's but so and he went on, he's the go-to guy to direct superhero movies. He was supposed to have done Wonder Woman a long time ago, but that kept falling apart, and then eventually he got to do the Avengers. The first one's it's okay, the second one not so much. I'm not a fan of that one, and I didn't see what the big deal was about this guy. And then he was brought in to supposedly save Justice League from Zack Snyder, and well, you know how that went. Apparently, as a result of what happened on that set, he's been in trouble ever since. Now, he fell from grace when his ex-wife spilled the beans about this so-called super feminist who loved to lord it over everybody else on Twitter and whatnot, and he's so saintly in his wokeness. But the thing about wokeness, eventually it comes to you, because the only thing woke people enjoy is punishing other people. So eventually they kind of run out of the targets, and then they turn on each other. And so this is kind of the case here with Joss Whedon. There's no real serious allegations against him. He cheated on his wife. It is Hollywood. He was probably this nerdy guy, and suddenly there's all these incredibly gorgeous women. And and so he was a naughty boy in that aspect of it, but in a lot of ways that's not really anyone else's business, and for the most part shouldn't really utterly destroy his career for say what have you. But well, in some ways I guess it did. I don't know. But anyway, so he was developing this TV series for HBO, The Nevers. Well, I guess it really is never. So he's parted ways with Joss Whedon. The HBO says, we parted ways with Joss Whedon. We remain excited about the future of The Nevers and look forward to its premiere in the summer of 2021. Joss Whedon also said in a statement via Cinema Blend. And, it's the usual statement that, for the most part, probably isn't true at all, except that, hey, boy, life's really been impacted by the challenges of this year. And so, I can imagine. And all of that. But I don't think in any way did he want to relinquish control of his new baby here. But that's it. So I need to take time for myself and all that type of thing. He might take a week off, but not leave totally. So he was forced out. And so, of course, here comes Ray Fisher's Cyborg. who's been going on about the terrible treatment that he suffered on the set of Justice League when Joss Whedon took over. Now, I absolutely believe him when he, in the initial description that Joss Whedon was an asshole on the set. Some other people that were there, of course, I think those were some of the anonymous ones, so, take it for what it is, but it sounds more credible that it was a tight schedule. This was very quick. You look at the timeline of Justice League's production and when Zack Snyder left it, there's only a handful of months left before its release date. The release date should have been canceled and pushed into the next year, especially what they wanted, what Warner Brothers wanted from it. And that's on them. It's not even on Joss Whedon. As much as I don't like the man, I don't think a lot of this stuff really isn't his fault. He really couldn't do what they wanted to do with what he had. And the fact that he was able to reshoot so much of it, is kind of astounding in a lot of ways, even though it's not very good. But when you realize just how little of Zack Snyder's footage was used, because the initial reaction was, oh, that was probably what Zack Snyder would have done. It's just a few little tweaks here and there that Whedon did, and that's it. No, it's quite the opposite. But they said that the schedule was really tight and they were under a lot of pressure, and so you can understand that everybody is on raw nerves. Plus, there's the sad situation for Zack Snyder and people not feeling so happy about how he was treated in all of this when he's suffering the terrible tragedy and they're taking his movie away from him and all that. Just not very happy all around. And then here comes Joss Whedon, and he's not going to be all that welcomed, especially when he's changing everything. The idea was that, oh, he's just following Zack's notes and all that. No, that was a lie. And so I certainly understand that. And if his attitude was really nasty to him and bullying and stuff, and apparently got in arguments with Gal Gadot and all of this stuff, and it just was not a happy camp at the time, and that I understand. Fisher goes into this as if he committed assault or something. He doesn't say it. He's never very specific, especially with Whedon. He's specific somewhat about Jeff Johns saying he threatened his career. Like, you'll never work in this town again if you don't, grow a spine and do your job or whatever. That's the kind of talk he got, which, boy, everybody gets that talk from a boss when you're slacking or what have you, or not getting along, or the boss just doesn't want to deal with the problems, they got enough problem on their plate or whatever. Nothing of what Ray Fisher says, I don't think merits even discussion. Especially since the whole Snyder Cut movement won. He won. His work will be seen. The original intent and all of that they worked on, it won. It's going to be presented and put out and all that. But then he delves into this business. Somebody told me that he changed the skin tone of one of the characters, and that's why I had to come out. So he presents that as the origin of his complaint. Not what he himself personally experienced, but that someone told him that he changed skin tone of characters because he didn't like them because he thought they were too dark or whatever. Absolutely false. No truth to that whatsoever. The color scheme of the entire movie is changed. I mean, there was dark, desaturated blue tones to overly saturated and more red tones in it and all that type of stuff. That's the whole damn film. So, and this is like, oh, his big evidence is hearsay from someone else. That's a huge problem on Ray. But now he's strutting that he took down Joss Whedon, and maybe he did. Once you're an a-hole like Joss Whedon is, you do make enemies. So he may have made quite a few more within Warner's, and there's people who just don't want to work with him and all that type of stuff. And Warner just says, well, he's a headache, let's let him go. And that appears to be the case. He's saying that this is one of the first, takedowns of his push for justice, or accountability is greater than entertainment. And that's his equation. I don't know if work ethic comes into the equation or honesty, because you accused him. That's far worse than anything you've mentioned that you yourself witnessed, which isn't a whole lot. You just said it was improper behavior or something along those lines. But calling him a racist and that sort of thing, and saying he manipulated the look of the film because of his racist beliefs or attitudes. That's just not right. I don't like the man. I do not like him, but that is wrong. I don't think he's a racist. And he didn't present anything, and you used hearsay to get there. That's wrong. Should not do that. But he did. Meanwhile, the Nevers, maybe this works out for the best for Joss. This sounds like crap. The synopsis of it is, in the years of Victoria's reign, London is beset by the touched people. No, I don't think it's a Me Too movie. Mostly women who suddenly manifest abnormal abilities, some charming, some very disturbing. Among them are Amalia True, played by Laura Donnelly, a mysterious, quick-fisted widow, and Penates Adair, played by Anne Skelly, a brilliant young inventor. They are the champions of this new underclass, making a home for the touched, while fighting the forces of... well, maybe we shouldn't mention. Pretty much all the forces to make room for those whom history, as we know it, has no place. So, yeah, of course, it's a big woke fest of misandrous crap. So, yeah, I think I'll be passing on that. I don't care who's running the show. Maybe that'll work out for Whedon in the long run. So there you go. I can't believe I'm forced to defend Joss Whedon, especially with Ray Fisher, because he was, he was very good in the Snyder, released the Snyder Cut movie. He was, I think, the first cast member to come out and give his full support for that and say, yeah, it should be released in some form or fashion so people can see it. As simple as that. And that I thought, that was cool. That was great. And his loyalty to Zack Snyder and all that was really cool and endearing. And then all this, don't really know the man, So, I don't like that kind of crap, and lying about people and vying for power and all this type of stuff. It's pretty nasty, even against somebody whom I don't particularly like. But wrong is wrong, and I think Joss Whedon is being wronged here, and it's not fair. But hey, that's Hollywood. Thanks for watching and listening. Say, while you're still here, why not like and subscribe and share with your many friends? Yes. Also, check out my mini stores in the link description below. Yes, where you can get t-shirts, hats, mugs, all those goodies with my artwork on them. Oh, yeah. And head over to indieplanet.com and pick up a copy of my comic book, Night Night. Oh, yeah. You can also catch me at my podcast, Mr Nailsin Show, on RadioMisfits.com. And you can also watch my videos on BitChute.com and now on Rumble.com. Oh, my goodness, so many places to watch me and my stuff. Oh, yeah. And if that's not enough for you, well, you can follow me on many social media platforms and say hi to your old pal, Mr. Nailsin.